Blessed sons and daughters of God, I, Saint Germain, Chohan of the seventh ray of the violet flame, stand before you to usher in more of the violet flame, more of that fire of God that will consume by the love of God all that you are willing to let go into the flame. For yes, blessed ones, you must be willing to let go of those human conditions in your life that are not in keeping with the Edenic blueprint of your own mighty I Am presence. This is why you have been given the violet flame, so that you can consume on the instant all of those areas of life that are not in keeping with the purity of God, to transmute them, to bring them back into the fullness of their divine essence at the inception, held within the mind of the I Am, and fulfilled by the pure nature of God, streaming forth by Elohim, by the Chohans, by the mighty I Am presence. And when the purity is upheld, the violet flame continues to keep everything resurrected and new. Yes, blessed ones, you have the opportunity to always feel that resurrection flame, fully apprised of all that you are doing in your life, so that there is not one moment that you go by in your day that there is not the bubbling up of the violet flame to consume any possibility of unreality coming to the fore. If you have a thought that comes into your mind and it is not a thought in keeping with God good, do you not think for one moment that your mighty I Am presence, if you have given the call, the vow to your God presence to consume it on the instant, that it will be gone? It will indeed. And that is the beauty of the violet flame. It allows for you to have the brazier of the violet flame constantly bubbling up within you, so that you are ready to be that priest and priestess of the sacred fire, calling forth the light of God, sending forth the rays of God consciousness, enlisting the assistance of the hierarchy of light at every turn, so that you are that Christ in action, that God presence in action, that fulfillment of life that your God presence knew that you would be when incarnating in the earth. Blessed hearts, it is not enough to merely come into life, put on a body, have the flame of God upon the altar of your heart, and think that somehow you will do good. It takes much striving, much determination to uphold those pure flames of God. If you have forgotten what they are like, that is what this entire conclave and Acropolis are all about, to remember the flame of God. Remember what that flame is like when it is coursing through your vehicles of consciousness, what it is like to be in the blue flame of the will of God, or illumination's flame, the love of God, the purity of God, that emerald ray of God, and that purple and gold flame of service that you so earnestly desire to render. Those flames, blessed ones, as well as the violet flame, keep you in that hallowed space where the chalice is always prepared, where you are teeming with the fullness of life, of the body consciousness of your mighty I Am presence. This is what the world needs. They are hungry, they are thirsty for the flame of God. This is why you, blessed ones, must be the ones to go forward as the shepherd templars of the world and lead the flock, lead those who must know that the flame of God is not dead. The flame of God is very much alive, and cosmic law streaming forth from out of the heart of God in the great central sun has announced it so, and it is allowing for that Edenic blueprint of purity and the perfection of God to once more cast off that encrusting human creation that is keeping it from fully vibrating with the presence of God and shining forth as the radiant sun behind the sun that has the full breadth and height of the eternal flame of God shining forth. This, blessed ones, you have within you as the capacity to bring forth. For you have not been given all of this wonderful and glorious body consciousness of God, and in word, in teaching, in substance, so that you merely could sit at home and think over it a time or two, and maybe, just maybe, you will win your ascension, for you have been present when I, Saint Germain, came. Well, blessed ones, that is not enough. It takes great determination, but that flame upon the altar of your heart must be engaged. It is not brute force. It is not the intellect of the human creation, of the outer mind, but it is, blessed ones, wisdom of illumination's flame, burning brightly in your life that utilizes the flames of God wisely. This is why there must be more of you taking up the torch to learn these teachings, so that when you are called upon, you can become a lay shepherd and then a shepherd templar to move forward throughout the land, doing seminars on behalf of the Temple of the Presence, taking up those modules that have blood, sweat, and tears have gone over to bring to the fore, so that you could have the material. You can have all of these teachings, blessed ones, to give to the masses, but you must hold to the truth. There must be that guard consciousness. Do not distort it, not change it, not move in your own human creation to bring about your own human ego or human pride. That is not the mission. That will not hold for long, for eventually that will be short-lived, and the waters of emotionalism or the intellect will wash over it, and it will disappear. No, blessed hearts, for this teaching to last the 2,000 years under my dispensation for the earth, there must be those who are willing to hold fast to the truth of cosmic law, and to do so you must be saturated with the violet flame, to consume constantly your own human creation, so there's not one vestige of your own human ego, your human pride, your human will, and tainting or insinuating itself into anything you think, say, or do. Blessed hearts, have you thought for a moment what you will do in the next 20 years should you be in embodiment? What will you do in the next 10 years? Are you going to be sitting in the same seat in the sanctuary with the same consciousness, the same vibration, or will you have accelerated by your own striving, by your own invocation to the light? Will you have consumed more of what is going on in your own personal life, writing those responsibilities that must be tended to and making room for God? Will you have the fullness of the desire for God burning upon the altar of your heart that you had when you first heard of the I Am Presence? Will it be as fresh and as new to you then as it is this very day? Well, I tell you, blessed ones, it will. If you are giving the violet flame, if you are invoking the purity of the white fire core of being, if you are allowing for the fullness of the will of God to inhabit your vehicles of consciousness, and for illumination to burn brightly in your crown, to have the freshness of the understanding and the wisdom of the teachings of cosmic law. Blessed hearts, it is a teaching that is alive. It is not dead. It is not just words on a paper, but they are cups of light and the cup of light, blessed ones, that you ingest as you study these teachings, as you re-listen over and over again to these addresses from this altar, you have the ability to integrate with your mighty I Am presence more of that cosmic law that is so very important. As you continue on this path throughout this incarnation, you will find, blessed ones, at the close of this lifetime, you will sail into your own ascension in the light, for it is what your God presence desires. And if the presence does have a mission for you to carry out in another incarnation, it will be fine with you, for you will have done your job, you will have done your part, you will have made yourself ready, and thus, for that new mission that mighty I Am presence may have for you, you will be ready to carry it out. Certainly this anointed representative delivering my address this day did not expect to be back into embodiment in this lifetime, and yet here she is, working again for and on the behalf of the mighty I Am presence and the lords of karma. So you see, blessed ones, if you are asked, you will say yes. That is almost assured, for when you are in the ascended octaves, there is nothing that you would not do for the presence of God. And that brings me to obedience. Yes, blessed hearts, obedience. Not to the human creation, not to the human pride, the human will, but to the presence of God, the mighty I Am. And if you are not obedient to the mighty I Am, or hierarchy in the cosmos, blessed ones, how will you ever make your ascension? You will look at your presence on the day of your ascension and say, oh, I don't know. Are you really sure? Maybe not. Maybe I should do something else. I think I will. And goodbye. That is how you may treat your own ascension. Oh, blessed hearts, how could you? I, Saint Germain, tell you, as sure as I am standing here, that when your presence says, come, you will come, and you will step into that flame, for you will already be filled with enough love for God, enough attainment and mastery, because you have called forth the light of God. You have been saturated from the addresses and the releases of the ascended and cosmic beings from this altar, and you have allowed for your own God presence to part the veil of your own human consciousness and vibration and raise up the very cells of your physical body so that you are scintillating with the fire of God. Blessed ones, it is possible to take your physical ascension. Do not be mistaken. But it takes great earnest, great striving, great momentum, and there is much work to be done in this outer world. So we have not called our most faithful servants of God to the Himalayas or to the hinterlands to be away from the mass consciousness so that they could elevate their own physical bodies into the ascension. This is why the dispensation of balancing at least 51% of the karma and fulfilling your dharma to take your ascension from inner levels and leave the gross physical, the gross emotional, the gross mental behind and take those finer vehicles up into the flame. So, blessed ones, think first, what is it that I must be about? Is it about my daily affairs, of moving this item to this place and this chair to this place? Or is it moving the spiritual light of God, calling forth the presence of God into the earth, calling it forth into my own affairs, and then watching how the momentum of that light carries you effortlessly through your day, and then, weary of the day and the burden of light that you have carried, you lay your head down and you float off in consciousness to the retreats of the ascended masters, to the Chohans, and you learn what it is that you need to know for the morrow, or for the next day, or the next, and you sit and you plan with the Chohans and those who serve in those retreats what it is that will help you to fulfill your divine plan and prepare you for the ascension in the light. Many have thought in the past that the ascension was merely an aggrandizement of the self, of one's own attainment, and somehow was leaving the rest of God in life to fend for themselves. No, blessed hearts. There is such radiance, such opportunity, and such momentum that is established in the earth when one son or daughter of God takes their ascension that you cannot even begin to imagine. It can bring a shift in the whole body consciousness of the sons and daughters of God to elevate them an entire plateau of spiritual attainment. It is most important. So it is not a selfish endeavor for you to work toward your ascension. You should have it in the forefront of your consciousness so that you are constantly adhering to all of the areas of life that will assist in bringing that to the fore. But I will tell you another secret. The greatest of those efforts will be in serving God in life. For when you are drawing forth God to serve others selflessly with the sacrifice of your own flame, you discover that you are the recipient of the greatest reward. And that has not even been in your consciousness, but the multiplication of God when you are giving forth by the love of your heart that which you desire to give is multiplied beyond your imagination. There are those that have thought, well, perhaps it is tenfold. Perhaps it is like the tithe that I give of 10% of my wealth, my time, and my attainment into the service of God in life. But no, blessed ones, you receive much more than 1/10 in return. And those who have practiced the law of the tithe know exactly what I mean. You have already witnessed to that, and you have had that experience over and over again. It is a form, blessed ones, of giving back to God, His servants, and those who are doing the better work, the greater work, not the better, the greater work. And you, blessed hearts, are fulfilling your part of the divine plan of the sons and daughters of God who are ready to exercise their voice, their momentum and talent into serving God in life. So you see, blessed ones, the same is true when you give of your love to God. God's love is infinite. You can receive more love from God in your little finger than will keep you the remainder of all your days satisfied that somehow God has loved you, regardless of your circumstances in life, and you are worthy. But God does not stop with your little finger. God gives you all of the kingdom of God love. When you love God, when you merely crack open the door, your presence and the great I am see an opportunity to flood forth all of the gifts that can possibly be held. The key is, will you be able to hold it? Will you have gone through the training to be able to hold the fire of God, to be ready to receive all of the blessings? And that is what the training in the teachings of the Ascended Masters is all about. That is why you come to the Chohans and their retreats. That is the service that we render to you, so that you might be taught the fundamentals, the beginning process. And it matters not what is released from this altar. Anyone, even the smallest child, can benefit, even if they do not understand one word. And those who do not even speak the language, they will receive the transfer of the body consciousness of God, and it will interact with their heart flame, and they will know what is being said on the inner, and it will assist their mighty I Am presence in stretching forth through the veil of God consciousness. So you see, blessed ones, there is no limitation. There is no reason why everyone cannot hear these addresses from this altar and understand enough to take them from point A to point B and then C, and ultimately end up in the fullness of understanding cosmic law, winning their ascension and being God victorious at the close of this lifetime. So you see, blessed ones, do not limit anyone. Hold fast to the God vision of the mighty I Am presence for everyone, to overshadow them sufficiently so that in a blink of an eye their heart flame will open and their own Holy Christ presence will overshadow them, even if it is only for a few moments of harmony that they are able to experience. And they will know the presence of God in that moment. And it will be undeniable. And the hunger will start in the flame of their heart, the hunger for more, to expand and to stretch forth the light of the mighty I Am presence. And these outer vehicles will have been, as it were, starved for the light, and they will desire it so. Is that not what you felt when you first heard of your own mighty I Am presence? When you first finally engaged with your mighty I Am presence? When you heard the voice of the ascended and cosmic beings from this altar, when the teaching began to resonate within your own heart flame and bubble up that flame to fill you, and your senses were scintillating with the fire of the light, and it was glorious. That, blessed ones, is living. That is life as it is to be lived. And this, blessed ones, is the place where life is constantly renewed. If you are bored, you are not living in light, for the light of God embodies the life and body consciousness of the mighty I Am presence. Do not strangle off the very source of your life by turning away from your mighty I Am presence at any time. When it gets difficult to maneuver in these outer vehicles and you know not where to turn, you turn to the mighty I Am presence. You turn to this altar. You call to the mighty I Am presence and to the Pharos of hierarchy. For even if you are not able to feel your own God presence, the hierarchy of light can sweep in and so surround you with their light that you will be comforted for that time and you will be lifted up so that in the blink of an eye, you will be reunited with the flame of your own heart, with your mighty I Am presence, and all will continue to flourish in your life. That is one of the glorious benefits of the hierarchy of light. They never wish to take from you your victory. They only desire you to win your victory. And we work mightily as Chohans to see that you have everything that you need at every opportune time to draw upon. So, blessed hearts, you must hone your vehicles of consciousness, train them, teach them, just as you would teach a little child. For after all, they require the Christ light, the flame of God, to fill it with nourishment, with the charge of emotion and energy, with the synapses to fire in the brain. All of that is motivated by the light of the mighty I Am Presence. And the more light, the greater the fire. So when you are filled constantly with the violet flame from below your feet to above your crown, and it is moving effortlessly, you, blessed hearts, are consuming every vestige of unreality that might come in to rob you in the night of your victory. It is our hope that in time you will come to truly appreciate every word that has been spoken from this altar, that your heart flame will register the truth of cosmic law and understand how the integration of that law within your outer vehicles, carrying you into the fullness of the electronic body, knits you together with the allness of God. And it is in that allness of God that the greatest victories are achieved. Mountains can be created, oceans filled, the earth tremble with the vibration of life, so that mankind can have a place upon which to build their temple, the temple of the Most High, a place prepared for God. That, blessed ones, is your body temple. That is the edifice of this outer temple in which you gather, so that the presence of God may be here, may burn upon this altar, and may stream forth across the land to permeate all of the planes of consciousness. Throughout this week, during the Acropolis, the Chohans will continue to teach and instruct, showing you how, when you come to their retreats, you will have the practical application of these glorious God qualities that can be drawn into the great pranic breaths of the elemental forces of nature. You, blessed hearts, have bodies built up of the pranic breaths. The experiments begin with your body temple, but they do not stop at that point. For the greater earth and the planes of consciousness upon the earth will be so charged with the Chohans and the hierarchs of the elements that you will come to know intimately how to utilize the qualities of God streaming forth from your own mighty I Am Presence, from the hierarchy of light, into all of life, and see it resurrect and create the fullness of the divine plan of God. Ultimately, the earth will come into its golden age. I know it as closely to my heart as I know your heart flames. And you, blessed ones, are the champions of that golden age. You are the knights and ladies that will stand with your torches held high, with your swords Excalibur, and with your hearts afire with God love, to bring it into the fullness. It is my hope and my prayer that not one son nor daughter of God would turn away from their mighty I Am presence once they have learned of these teachings. There would not be one vestige of their human creation stand as an obstacle to their victory. This is why the violet flame is so key to the victory of each life stream. This is why I, Saint Germain, have called to the Lords of Karma for another dispensation of violet flame for you. And it is a violet flame, blessed ones, that I will call forth daily on your behalf. You need only be the recipient. Oh, you must still make your calls to the violet flame as you have. But this particular quotient of violet flame that I will call for each one of you is so that you will have the opportunity to know your own mighty I Am presence enough that you will become the servant of God that was intended to be. In whatever manner your God presence elected. Blessed hearts, the magnitude of my momentum on the violet flame is very great. Expect change in your life. For when you are receptive to my flame and my call, it will reorder your life in accordance to the divine plan of your life stream. This is a great dispensation indeed, and I must tell you I had to argue even with my own twin flame. So do not look upon it as somehow they simply acquiesced to my call. Blessed hearts, you are so precious to my life stream. I have loved you before I knew you, for I know the I Am, and that I Am is who you are. So let the light of God free you in freedom's flame, and let the fullness of God, reality, feed into your own heart flame and explode into your outer vehicles as a shining light that will set you apart from the human creation into the divinity of your own ascension in the light. I thank you for your attention to my flame this day, for I know it has been long. But I tell you, blessed hearts, if you will receive my gift, it will be oh so worth it. I thank you.